Hey everyone, Micron Technology reported quarterly financial results that sent the stock price down following the release. So I'll share with you the reasons why the stock price fell, pointing to the quarterly earnings release, highlighting specifically the factors that investors did not like. I'll also highlight the good things from Micron's latest quarter, the progress the company made. The imbalance between supply and demand in the industry is working in its favor, and I'll elaborate on those factors in the video. Finally, I'll update you on my recommendation of Micron Technology stock. Coming into the quarter, I had the stock rated as one of my top stocks to buy in 2024. Am I changing that recommendation? You'll find out in this video. So let's jump into the results.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so right off the bat, Micron management saying that AI demand drove 50% increase in sequential data center revenue and record high data center revenue mix. So Micron Technology is now getting into the mix of this surge in demand for artificial intelligence, and data center growth and data center investment is absolutely soaring. That's what's driving growth for NVIDIA. Its position inside the data center, the AI data center, and now Micron Technology, yet another business benefiting from that growth in data centers. Now, within that data center, there's several products and several companies that are benefiting from that expansion. It's not just NVIDIA. There's more to a data center than just GPUs. You need memory, you need storage, and that's where Micron comes in. Now, the spending, where's the money coming from to build these data centers? That's coming from the likes of Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Oracle, and other big cloud providers that are building out these data centers for their own use and to sell it to other businesses. They are the ones that's driving the big surge in spending in data center to train and develop these large language models, and they are getting paid from companies like OpenAI's ChatGPT and others that are using the computing power of those data centers. And given the forecasts of investments from all those hyperscalers, this growth in data center is likely to continue for at least the next 2 to 4 years. That's the timeline that these hyperscalers, forgot to mention Meta Platforms is also investing big into data centers to develop its large language model. And so they've informed investors that they will increase their spending on data centers by the billions, and they've said that these investments will go on for a couple of years. The company continues to say that robust AI demand and strong execution enabled Micron to drive 17% sequential revenue growth. The year-over-year revenue growth was even larger, and this exceeded their guidance range for fiscal Q3, so they beat expectations. They are gaining share in high-margin products like high-bandwidth memory, and they are excited about the expanding AI-driven opportunities ahead and are well-positioned to deliver substantial revenue records in fiscal year 2025. So this all sounds great. Why was the stock price down? And it has a connection to the robust demand. It has connection to the growth expectations, and I'll circle back to that before I end the video in a little bit. I highlighted that year-over-year revenue was even stronger. You can see here $6.811 billion in revenue for fiscal Q3 2024. That's compared to just $3.752 billion in fiscal Q3 2023. So big surge in revenue. Remember, a few quarters ago, I was talking about Micron just rebounding from that cyclical bottom in demand, and now it's shaping to recover from that bottom. It's a cyclical business. There are ups and downs, and it's now in the middle of the big upswing, and that upswing is being turbocharged by investments in artificial intelligence. So Micron's prospects are excellent. Its profit margin, the gross profit margin, expanded to 26.9%, up from negative 17.8% in the next quarter. Management said it expects its gross profit margin to continue expanding going forward. Again, more good news. Why is the stock price falling? So operating income percentage jumped to 10.6%, up from negative 46.9% in the previous quarter, in the previous year, same quarter. All right, so that was all the good news, and here is where the bad news starts. Investments in capital expenditure. $2.06 billion for the third quarter of 2024. So if you divide that by sales, that's roughly almost a third of sales, almost 33% of sales going into capital expenditure. That's a large percentage of sales that you're investing in capital expenditure. Remember what capital expenditure is. It's investments in expansion of manufacturing for Micron Technology. Specifically, Micron is investing in expansion in the US, and that investment is facilitated by two things. Number one, the growing demand environment, as you noticed earlier. Demand for its products are increasing because of demand from artificial intelligence and the impact AI is having across the board. We didn't get into the edge, right? We just talked about data center for now, but on the edge, products like smartphones and computers, they're all going to require increasing memory and increasing storage because of the increasing computing requirements for artificial intelligence. So that's all going to drive demand for Micron, and Micron is investing to meet that demand. And those investments are large. And not only did Micron say that $2 billion in Q3, that the next quarter is going to be even more at $3 billion, and then next year is going to be even more than that and remain at roughly 30% of revenue. So those large capital investments are what spooked investors in these latest quarterly results. Investors were hoping that Micron would be able to serve the growing demand of this market with existing capacity, or if it was going to need to invest in increasing capacity, to not have it be so large. So that was the first reason why Micron is investing in expansion. The second reason is the CHIPS Act in the US is granting Micron close to $6 billion in grants so that it can invest in manufacturing in the US. It's investing in expansions in Idaho and New York. And Micron sees that as an opportunity to expand at lower prices. And it de-risks from its existing manufacturing footprint in Taiwan, an area with increasing geopolitical risk. So for those two reasons, the company is investing in capital expenditure, investing in manufacturing. And that's risky because you're putting in billions and billions of dollars, and it's uncertain if you're going to get that return on investment that you're expecting going into it. Of course, they wouldn't do it unless they were expecting that good return on investment, but it's never a sure thing. It increases risk of a business the more capital you pour into the business. However, the good sign is that the government is supplementing some of those investments, and so the costs are lower, the risks are lower. And one of the factors of the geopolitical tension is that Micron's business is now at greater risk because of the concentration in manufacturing in Taiwan. By investing in expansion in the US, it de-risks from geopolitical tension, but it increases risk because the business is now more capital intensive, increasing its fixed cost, its fixed asset base. So a bit of offsetting, but investors placing a greater weight on the greater fixed capital investment portion and less weight on the decreasing geopolitical risk part of the investment. So this is the primary reason why I feel the company's stock price fell following a quarterly earnings update, which for the most part looked really strong to me. The area of concern was what I just discussed here. Looking ahead, the company expects $7.6 billion in revenue in the next quarter and gross profit margin of 33.5%. These would be increases from $6.8 billion in revenue from the previous quarter, so an $800 million increase in revenue, and roughly 7 percentage points increasing from the gross profit margin of 26.9% to 33.5%. So excellent news there. Now, following the stock price decrease, Micron Technology is now trading at a forward price to earnings of 13.89, which in my opinion is a reasonable valuation. So to update my recommendation for for Micron Technology, I'm keeping Micron on my list of top stocks to buy, and I'm updating that recommendation today on July 2nd. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.